How are you guys? Welcome back to Wargaming China. You know what we do here. I use my toy soldiers to platform my understandings of China's war of resistance against Japanese aggression from 1931 to 1945. What we're looking at today, or what you're looking at right now, are two IGA-1 Vickers Crossley armoured cars of the Japanese Navy, of the SNLF. Now, Japan bought 12 of these in 1925, and they served with both her army and her navy. And the Vickers Crossley EGA-1 was not a cheap armoured car, and it had a number of innovations which made it very unique and very expensive. We'll start with the chassis. The chassis was originally designed by Crossley to go for an armoured car that was to be sold to the White Russians. Crossley finished the chassis, but the White Russians had lost the war, and there was nobody to buy the armoured car, so it was never built. However, the chassis sat at the Crossley factory for another 3 or 4 years, and there was a tender for what was called the Indian government lorry. Now, the Indian government lorry was a lorry bought for by the government of India at the time, and it was a lorry that was designed with the request where it should be able to carry a 4.5 ton load, have solid rubber tires, and have low maintenance and be very reliable. So Crossley got one of these chassis out, reworked it a bit, and sent it off for the trial. During that trial, it was loaded with 4 tons of goods, the chassis was, with a basic cab, and it was driven for 4,000 miles non-stop. And then to complete the trial, they ended up doing 30,000 miles non-stop with no mechanical problems at all. So in 1925, or around about 1925, the Indian government wanted to order some armoured cars, and Vickers Crossley approached Vickers because they said, look, we've got the chassis, if you do as a body, we can make a go of this armoured car and sell it to this government contract. And of course Vickers stepped forward. Now, what the armoured car was something very special. Now, before I continue, I'm going to have to mention here that there's a lot of Vickers Crossley armoured cars. There's a Crossley armoured car. There's a Crossley armoured car on a Chevrolet body. There's an Indian pattern armoured car. But we're just going to stick to the IGA-1. And what made this car so expensive? Well, the 4.5 litre Crossley engine was reworked by Climax Motors of Birmingham. And they were whizzes with engines. They made everything from lift engines to racing car engines to speedboat engines, and they always took standard engines and then worked their magic with them. So when these designs appeared on the drawing board, the design was for a armoured car that weighed 7.5 tons, armoured with 6 to 9 millimeters of armour plate, insulated on the inside of asbestos, an asbestos lining on the inside. Now, what did they want that for? Well, 2 reasons. One was obviously because it was going to serve in a very hot climate, so they wanted some way to keep the car cool. But another one, and it's not written down in many places, is that actually, with a flip of a switch, the Vickers Crossley armoured car could be electrified. So in protests and civil disturbance, people couldn't climb on top of it, they'd be electrocuted. And all of these features made the Vickers Crossley armoured car a very expensive armoured car. But not only was it expensive, it was not popular with crews because the solid rubber tyres made this armoured car a real bone judderer, and crew comfort and crew fatigue was pretty high. Anyway, the title of this video is the Eagle and Globe armoured car. So why am I talking about the Vickers Crossley IGA1? Well, it's pretty simple. The Vickers Crossley was an expensive armoured car, but it did have people that wanted to buy something similar. So there was a company, and I believe this company was based in Australia, in Parramatta, called Eagle and Globe. Now what Eagle and Globe did is they got the patent to make the body without all the sophisticated asbestos lining, or without electrification, and without the any of the Crossley engine parts. And they had the patent to sell the body, and they designed the body to be fitted onto GMC truck chassis. So in 1932, these Eagle and Globe armoured cars entered service with Liu Armoured Formation. Now, there are references that say that Sichuan bought 4 of these. They were delivered to Shanghai and assembled there, because remember, this was a kit car. They were in service by 1932, and by all accounts were very popular. Definitely in service during the Battle of Shanghai in 1937. Definitely in service for the Sui Yuan campaign of 33 to 36, and indeed the Eagle and Globe armoured car seems to have been bought even by Chiang's nationalist government, although there are no records that confirm this. Indeed, there's only 1 or 2 photographs of the Eagle and Globe armoured car in Sichuan service. There are no photos of the ones that NRA bought, the National Revolutionary Army bought. So what we are looking at is an armoured car armed with, as far as we know, 2 medium machine guns in the circular turret, and 1 37mm gun mounted here. But I haven't mounted it because I'd like to find a picture so I could do it more justice, see the gun itself. But also there are arguments that maybe they didn't even have the 37mm gun. So I believe they did, but I'd like to see a picture of it. Others say they didn't. The government ones, the Eagle and Globe armoured cars bought by the Chinese government, did not have the 37mm gun. But the ones apparently fielded by Louisiana's Liu Armoured Formation did. 1 or 2 at least. But as I said, I have never seen pictures of them. There are arguments whether it's true or not. But that's something for the future. Right now, we have the Liu Armoured Force. I'm proud to field it for you. And scratch built, and bought from those nice guys at Early War Miniatures. And is a nice kit. I don't think it's as nice as the Shapeways ones, but the Shapeways ones are far more expensive. But probably the EWM kits does suit the Eagle and Globe more, because it is a little bit rougher, and it is a little bit it's not as clean lined as the Shapeways one, so I think it does great as an Eagle and Globe armoured car. I might get another one. It will depend if I can find a picture, as I said, of the 37mm gun mounted. Okay, so that's the last vehicle in the Liu Armoured Force. So man, I should get a like for assembling the Liu Armoured Formation because it's never been seen on YouTube. That it, you know. And you will be seeing these cars on my War Games table in the future, but probably not for a while. I am looking forward to having them on the table. They were a pleasure to make, all of them, and I went for a paint job that could be, I had fun with the paint jobs. It was, with all black and white images, you can never really be sure what the paint jobs were. So I just had fun, which is what we should all do with wargaming. Okay, thanks for that. I hope you press a like. I could do with some subscribers again. I need a buzz of seeing some new subscribers. That's all for now. Take care.